Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Denise. I'm a manifestation coach. If you would like to book one-on-one coaching with me, there's a link in the description below. If you want to learn more about law of assumption and manifestation, check out my other videos and please subscribe to my channel. It's Sunday, so I'm going to be reading out of Neville's book, The Power of Awareness, and I think we are on chapter 3. Yeah, The Power of Assumption. I wanted to also shout out my homegirl. I ordered from my friend's merch shop. This is Standing on Business. She's got a really cute It Girl line too. Again, this is not advertising. I'm just shouting out a friend that I want to support. But I will link her merch shop. She also has some It Girl stuff. And her name is Sham the Baddest. And she also has a Spotify. So feel free to check out her music if you're so inclined to do so. All right, so happy Sunday, and let's get reading. The Power of Assumption. Man's chief delusion is his conviction that there are causes other than his own state of consciousness. All that befalls a man, all that is done by him, all that comes from him, happens as a result of his state of consciousness. A man's consciousness is all that he thinks and desires and loves, all that he believes is true and consents to. That is why a change of consciousness is necessary before you can change your outer world. Rain falls as a result of a change in temperature in the higher regions of the atmosphere. So, in like manner, a change of circumstance happens as a result of a change in your state of consciousness. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. To be transformed, the whole basis of your thoughts must change. But your thoughts cannot change unless you have new ideas, for you think from your ideas. All transformation begins with an intense, burning desire to be transformed. The first step in the renewing of the mind is desire. You must want to be different and intend to be before you can begin to change yourself. Then you must make your future dream a present fact. You do this by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled. By desiring to be other than what you are, you can create an ideal of the person you want to be and assume that you are already that person. If this assumption is persisted in until it becomes your dominant feeling, the attainment of your ideal is inevitable. The ideal you hope to achieve is always ready for an incarnation. But unless you yourself offer it human parentage, it is incapable of birth. Therefore, your attitude should be one in which, having desired to express a higher state, you alone accept the task of incarnating this new and greater value of yourself. In giving birth to your ideal, you must bear in mind that the methods of mental and spiritual knowledge are entirely different. This is a point that is truly understood by probably not more than one person in a million. You know a thing mentally by looking at it from the outside, by comparing it with other things, by analyzing it and defining it, by thinking of it, whereas you can know a thing spiritually only by becoming it, only by thinking from it. You must be the thing itself and not merely talk about it or look at it. You must be like the moth in search of his idol, the flame, who, spurred with true desire, splunging at once into the sacred fire, folded his wings within till he became one color and one substance with the flame. He only knew the flame who in it burned, and only he could tell who near to tell returned. Just as the moth in his desire to know the flame was willing to destroy himself, so must you, in becoming a new person, be willing to die to your present self. You must be conscious of being healthy if you are to know what health is. You must be conscious of being secure if you are to know what security is. Therefore, to incarnate a new and greater value of yourself, you must assume that you already are what you want to be, and then live by faith in that assumption, which is not yet incarnate in the body of your life, in confidence that this new value or state of consciousness will become incarnated through your absolute fidelity to the assumption that you are that which you desire to be. This is what wholeness means, what integrity means. They mean submission of the whole self to the feeling of the wish-fulfilled uncertainty that the new state of consciousness is the renewing of the mind which transforms. There is no order in nature corresponding to this willing submission of itself to the idea beyond the self. Therefore, it is the height of folly to expect the incarnation of a new and greater concept of self to come about by natural evolutionary process. That which requires a state of consciousness to produce its effect obviously cannot be effected without such a state of consciousness, and in your ability to assume the feeling of a greater life, to assume a new concept of yourself, you possess what the rest of nature does not possess: imagination, the instrument by which you create your world. Your imagination is the instrument, the means, whereby your redemption from slavery, sickness, and poverty is effected. If you refuse to assume the responsibility of the incarnation of a new and higher concept of yourself, then you reject the means, the only means, whereby your redemption, that is, the attainment of your ideal, can be effected. Imagination is the only redemptive power in the universe. However, your nature is such that it is optional to you whether you remain in your present concept of yourself, a hungry being longing for freedom, health, and security, or choose to become the instrument of your own redemption, imagining yourself as that which you want to be, and thereby satisfying your hunger and redeeming yourself. So, just a little recap on that chapter. At least some things that I would like to reiterate are the first, the burning desire to be different is how you then reconceptualize yourself. That's the motivation to change. So if you are in a place where you are feeling drastically displeased with your 3D reality, as undesirable as that may feel right now, just know that that desire for change, that frustration with what you're seeing and what you're experiencing, and all of that is imperative to you shifting into a new state of consciousness, right? If you weren't watching these channels and taking in this information and feeling these negative feelings about your 3D reality, you wouldn't be changing. There would be no room for growth. There would be nothing. You wouldn't be propelling into a new state of consciousness. So even in that, even in the despair and frustration of 3D reality being undesirable and being completely opposite of what you want, there is still the hope and the understanding and like being able to have the faith that that also is good, because that means you're changing. That means you're growing. That means you're being motivated and driven and drawn to start thinking from a new state of consciousness. So that part's really important. And then the second part that I want to talk about is the imagination part, or like the using the imagination to become that state of consciousness. From that state of despair or hopelessness or frustration, it can feel like a stretch to start thinking as if you already have it, to start imagining as if it's already yours. I get that. But a tool that I've used to get there is asking, what will it be like when? Or what is it like to? There's no wrong way to word it, but you're really just starting to explore that concept, explore that reality. What is the nature of it? How does that version of you think? How does that version of you feel? What is that version of you seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, whatever? Get all the senses involved if you wish. But it's really about you starting to ponder, contemplate, and from there connect with and build what this reality will feel like for you. The state of consciousness of fulfillment, whether it be about abundance, love, wealth, that's the same as abundance, health, whatever it's the state of consciousness that you're desiring that you feel like you are not experiencing right now, just start questioning what does that state of consciousness look like? What do I think like from there? What do I feel like from there? Those answers may not come to you straight away. Excuse me. They may not come to you straight away, but keep asking the question. keep prodding and poking, because what you're doing is you're instructing the subconscious to provide answers. And in your conscious mind, you will eventually, probably very quickly, start to come up with answers. Oh, it'll feel like this, or I'll see them doing this, or I'll be in this position, this role at work, or I'll have this much free time every day, or I'll be able to, purchase these things whenever I want, or have all my bills on auto pay, or whatever your personal goals are. You'll start to fill in those answers. They'll just start to show up for you. But I guess the point I want to reiterate is that if you're feeling like your manifestation, your desire is really far away from you, and you can feel that sort of contrast or discrepancy between where you are and where you want to be, that's okay. Just work with that. Like, that's part of this. That's that discomfort and that frustration, or like all of that is what gets us going, right? Like, also, as Neville puts it, like, you have to have a burning desire. So don't feel like you can want something too much. You can never want anything too much. Wanting something, there's different ways of wanting. You can want something from the perspective of determination that it will be yours. And when I say something, I don't really mean the thing. I mean the feeling you will achieve from having the thing. Because that's what you really want anyway, right? You don't want the money. You don't want the person. You don't want the job. You want the way you believe the money, the person, and the job will make you feel to be prevalent in your life. You want the feelings that you believe these things will give you. So that's what I urge you to manifest first off. Like, focus more on the feeling. That's the part you want to put a lot of your dominant attention on, especially when you're imagining these things. That's why I always say, how will I feel when? How do I feel as? And then what am I seeing, hearing? Because those things help induce the feelings within you. But yeah, you can't want it too much. It's okay. You can want something from not having too much. In other words, you can really desperately long for and want something. But even that, like Neville says, and like I'm saying, that desperation or that longing for something is what's going to motivate you to start thinking from it, and to start, acting as if, and living from the end, and all of that. So everything's perfect. Everything's perfect, in other words. Exactly where you're at is exactly perfect. It's always perfectly authentic to your state of consciousness. You have all the information. You know the basic elements of this, or the foundation, the fundamentals. And trust that you're getting there. Trust that every moment of every day, you're learning more and more to fulfill your own desires in imagination, and thus they will be reflected back to you. All right, happy Sunday. I love you guys. I'll see you next video.